Tolstoy's midlife collapse and the search for meaning. Why are you here? Not what do you do, not what's your job, not how's the family. I mean the question that shows up at 2:17 a.m. when the house is quiet and your brain won't shut up. What's the point if everything ends? That question didn't just haunt random people. It haunted Leo Tolstoy, one of the greatest writers who ever lived. And here's the part that should scare you. He had everything, and it still wasn't enough. Tolstoy wasn't struggling in a basement with nothing to his name. He was famous, rich, married, kids, a huge estate, global respect. The guy wrote War and Peace and Anna Karenina. He was basically a legend while still breathing. And then, around age 50, something inside him snapped. Not a bad, weak snap, a full-on internal collapse. A man who had achieved what most people chased their entire life suddenly couldn't answer one simple question. Why live? The problem nobody talks about. Here's the truth most people avoid. Success doesn't protect you from emptiness. In fact, sometimes it makes the emptiness louder. Because when you finally get what you thought you wanted and it still doesn't fix that ache, you've got nowhere left to run. Tolstoy described a kind of existential crisis so heavy that sleep became his favorite escape. Not because he was lazy, because being awake meant being trapped with his own thoughts. He wrote about having to fight the urge to end his life. He literally had to outsmart his own mind just to keep going. And if you've ever felt that dark pull, hear me clearly. Don't handle that alone. Talk to someone you trust and get professional help if you need it. You're not weak, you're human. Tolstoy's story isn't here to romanticize despair. It's here to show you a way through it. How it started. From the beginning, Tolstoy had a complicated relationship with faith. He lost his parents young. That kind of loss doesn't just hurt, it rewires you. He was skeptical of Christianity and suspicious of organized religion. Over time, the belief he was handed didn't match what life was showing him, so he did what intelligent people do. He questioned everything. And for decades, it seemed fine. He built a life. He created. He enjoyed pleasure. He chased experiences. He chased meaning through achievement until the question came back sharper than ever. If not now, then tomorrow. If not tomorrow, then in 30 years. Does it make any difference? That's the voice of nihilism, not dramatic sadness, a logical, freezing thought. The parable that hit him in the chest. In A Confession, Tolstoy shares a parable that became a mirror for his whole life. A man is running from a wild beast. He's desperate, panicked. He finds a well and jumps in to escape. But at the bottom of the well is a dragon, mouth open, waiting. So the man clings to a branch growing out of the wall. He can't climb up, the beast is above. He can't drop down, the dragon is below. And while he's hanging there, he notices drops of honey on the leaves, and he tastes them. For a moment, he forgets the horror. For a moment, life tastes sweet. Tolstoy looked at that and realized, that's us. We're all hanging between fear and death, and we distract ourselves with honey, pleasure, entertainment, money, validation, noise. Not because those things are evil, but because they keep us from looking straight at the question, what's the point? Tolstoy's search, philosophy and science didn't save him. So he did what most rational people try first. He went to philosophy. He read ancient thinkers, wisdom traditions, big minds, but he kept running into the same cold conclusion. Life ends, death wins, nothing matters. Then he turned to science. Because science explains how things work, right? But science didn't answer why live. It answered mechanics, not meaning. It could describe cells aging, bodies decaying, survival and adaptation, but it couldn't tell him what to do with the fact that he was alive right now and terrified.
So he looked at people instead. And what he found is one of the most brutally honest breakdowns of coping I've ever heard. The 4 ways people cope with meaninglessness. Tolstoy said most people escape the terrible position of being human in 4 basic ways. 1. Ignorance. Just don't think about it. Some people cope by refusing to look. Life is absurd, so what? They stay busy, stay distracted, stay surface level. This is the just vibe strategy. And yes, it works until it doesn't. Because tragedy shows up, death shows up, loss shows up, and suddenly the question you avoided kicks your door down. 2. Pleasure. Drown it in honey. Some people cope by going all in on indulgence. More comfort, more entertainment, more sex, more stuff, more travel, more distractions. Honey, honey, honey. But honey doesn't build meaning. It buys you a break from pain, then the pain comes back with interest. Tolstoy saw this as temporary sedation, not salvation. 3. Despair. Exit the game. Some people decide the joke isn't funny anymore, and Tolstoy saw that option clearly. He felt its gravity. I'm not going to glamorize this, I'm going to say it plainly. That path is not the answer. If you're standing near that edge, tell someone today. Get help today. You matter more than your worst night. Tolstoy didn't choose that path. He chose something else. 4. Limbo. Stay alive, but stop living. This one is the quiet killer. It's not dramatic, it's numb. You keep showing up, but you're not really in it. You're not chasing pleasure. You're not finding faith. You're not ending it. You're just existing, emotionally parked, spiritually exhausted. Tolstoy called it the weakest way to live because it has no movement, no decision, no direction. And a human being without direction becomes a ghost. The turning point. The people with nothing had something he didn't. Here's the story gets uncomfortable. Tolstoy, the genius, the legend, the man with everything, realized the peasants had something he didn't. Faith. Not fancy theology, not intellectual arguments. A simple, stubborn belief that life had meaning beyond comfort and beyond death. They suffered, and they still had purpose. They struggled, and they still endured. And Tolstoy had to face a brutal possibility. Maybe meaning isn't solved like a math problem. Maybe meaning is lived. He began to see that reason alone wasn't enough to hold up the weight of being human. He started to believe that if life has any meaning at all, it has to connect to something infinite, something bigger than your moods, bigger than your achievements, bigger than your death. What changed in his life? As Tolstoy leaned into this, his life transformed. He started living simpler. He focused more on service, humility, and helping others. He questioned wealth. He gave away much of what he had, and it caused conflict in his family. Because when you change for real, not everyone claps. But he found something he didn't have before: peace. Not the fake peace of nothing hurts, real peace. The kind that lets you wake up and keep going even with suffering in the room. Tolstoy didn't become a perfect religious icon. His faith wasn't clean and polished. It wasn't a neat box. It was a lifeline, a way to live without being crushed by the question. And he carried that change into the rest of his life until his death in 1910. The driven takeaway. So, what do we do with this? Here it is. If you chase success hoping it will answer "Why am I here?" you might end up like Tolstoy, at the top and empty. Meaning isn't something you stumble into after you make it. Meaning is something you choose and build while you're still bleeding, still doubting, still tired. And if you're in a season where the question is haunting you, do not run from it. Don't drown it in honey. Don't numb out. Face it. Then build a life that can carry the weight of being alive. Purpose isn't a quote on a wall. It's what you do when life stops making sense and you decide to live anyway. If this hit you, drop a comment with one word: meaning. And if you want more stories like this, real minds, real darkness, real breakthroughs, subscribe to Driven. Because we don't do fluff here, we do the work.